Thank you, Chair Murray and Senator Braun, and thank you to the witnesses. So I do think we all come at this from our own perspective, and it's been helpful to hear Mrs. Heldman and Ms. Cerulli and Senator Braun's your perspective, so I'll just offer mine in a minute. I grew up in a household very familiar with unions and small businesses. My dad ran an ironworking shop in the stockyards of Kansas City, Missouri, iron crafters, iron worker organized, union members. 5 employees in a tough year, plus my mom and my 2 brothers and me. And in a really great year, maybe 8 or 9 employees. And union and a small business worked just fine. It wasn't a franchise, so I'm hearing, there are different business models, but union and small business worked just fine. I'm sure my dad had some disagreements over time with the union. In a negotiation, you're going to do that. But, he always would tell us, my business acumen will put my workers' kids through college, and their artistry and skill will put you boys through college. He told my 2 brothers and I that a lot. And I saw that they were artists. My dad, one of the honors of his life was at one time the Iron Workers National Pension Fund, which has a board, 3 union reps and 3 employer reps, asked my dad to be on the board. And he said, I only have 5 employees. I mean, this is a national union. Yeah, but you're fair. You're a good business owner. We want you on the board. And he did that for about 10 or 15 years, and it was one of the professional honors of his life. I want to clear up a couple of misconceptions or maybe elaborate a little bit about the PRO Act. So a statement was made earlier that it would take away people's right to vote secretly in a union election. And my understanding is that is not true at all. The PRO Act basically maintains a requirement for secret ballot, except in this condition. If an employer commits an unfair labor practice, and the unfair labor practice is so serious that it jeopardizes the ability to have a fair election, then the NLRB can order a rerun election by card check rather than by secret ballot. But everybody gets to cast a secret ballot in a union election under the PRO Act unless the employer violates the law and violates it so seriously that intimidation is so likely that a card check is allowed. Am I wrong about that? That's how I read the PRO Act.
Is that to me?
Yeah, if you would, Mr. Beard. Yeah,
yeah.
Mr. Beard.
Yeah, sure. You're absolutely correct. And I'd also would like to take the opportunity, if I could, to correct the record with respect to another thing. In terms of the supply of personal information, the senators should know that Excelsior Underwear, which is a Supreme Court case, stated that unions have the right to get the names, the addresses, and the phone numbers of the workers that they are trying to organize, because, of course, they're outside of the facility.
Right. Because in an election, the employer would have that information, and so to make it even, Stephen, the union would want to have it. A second issue. So I think it's really important. People have a right to secret ballot, and it's only after a finding of an unfair labor practice that it could be ordered by card check. Second, this is a really important thing. Mrs. Heldman talked about how hard it is to win a union election against the onslaught of an anti-union campaign. When you finally do win an election, and when the employees say we want a union, I think it's outrageous that having lost an election, the employer is able to stonewall for sometimes years at a time and not get a contract. I mean, it's like trying to overturn the results of an election. We saw an effort to do that here on January 6th. It wasn't too good. An election should have meaning, and so the provision in the first year to, if there is an election, if the employees say we want a union, that should be able to be converted into a contract in a reasonable period of time. Finally, right to work. Virginia is a right to work state. But I want to focus on something that most people don't focus on, which is if the employees choose a union, then the union is required by law to negotiate for every last member of the bargaining unit, whether or not the person wants to join a union. That is a requirement of the union, is it not?
That is correct.
Right.
Senator.
So if the union is required by law to negotiate for everyone, then I don't think it's unfair for somebody to say, well, I don't want to join the union, but for there to be an agency fee. Okay, you may not want to join the union. You may not want to contribute to the union's political activities or whatever. But since the union is required by law to negotiate for you, and you're getting the pension benefit, and you're getting the salary, and you're getting the health care benefit that the union is negotiating for you, to say, not only I don't want to join the union, but I also don't want to pay for the benefit of the representation that the union is required to carry out on my behalf. I think the notion of the agency fee, letting that be negotiated, and if it is negotiated into a contract, letting that contract be upheld just like we would uphold other contracts at law, seems to me to be very, very fair. With that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you. Senator Kaine.